altogether. So that was why there was another election which excluded the president. Okay. So then what happened to him was that what happened to us was eventually the president said to us, look, I'm never going to get back into the country. They're not going to let me back in. I'm allowed to go back because of the roadmap. I'm allowed to do this and that. They're not going to let me back, so I'm just going back on my own. So one morning, we all got a phone call to say, from the president to say I'm back in Madagascar. He then went back to his house. 3 or 4 days later, a gang of 50 men wearing balaclavas, carrying automatic rifles, stormed into the house, broke down the doors, opened fire, took the president, put him in a vehicle, and he disappeared. For 4 days, the family didn't know where he was. Yeah. Eventually, they discovered that he was being held in solitary confinement at a military base somewhere in the north of the country. It took a long time to get him out of jail, out of solitary confinement, and allowed to live in Madagascar where he is now. However, he is struggling to re-establish his businesses and facing all sorts of trials and tribulations. And I just wanted to say before I do introduce Sarah, is that this is a man who, despite all of that, is still fighting for peace and is fighting for his people in Madagascar. And he's a man that I'm very proud to be able to represent as a communications advisor. Okay. So, having made those quick remarks, let me introduce his daughter, Sarah. Sarah's a business person in her own right. She ran television stations and newspapers in Madagascar. Also had to go into exile with her family when the president was forced to go into exile, and is now back in Madagascar trying to make a difference. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Ravalomanana.
Thank you, Peter. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We, my mother, Ravalomanana, the mayor of Antananarivo, capital of Madagascar, and my brother Mike are proud to accept the award for African Person of the Year Political Leadership for my father, Mark Ravalomanana, former president of Madagascar. My father has asked us to apologize for his absence. He has asked me to read to you his message. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to read you now his speech. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this award. Thank you for the people across Africa and the world who voted for me. Thank you to the Malagasy people. Thank you to my family for their love and support. Thank you to African Leadership Magazine. Thank you to the people who have made this evening memorable. Thank you to the government of South Africa and its people for their generous hospitality and support during my long years of exile here. Despite hardships and challenges, South Africa was warm, welcoming home from home. Congratulations to all the nominees and to the winners of awards tonight, important people, distinguished leaders of Africa. I am flattered to receive this award, but conflicted because my work is far from over. Sadly, the crisis in my beloved Madagascar is not over. We have not managed to lift our people out of the poverty and lack of development they suffer. I want this award to be the start of achievement, not the end of it. I accept it as a commitment to the people of Madagascar that I will work with them to change our history. We have been divided by politics. Madagascar, like many African countries, suffered a violent, illegal coup d'etat. It plunged us into destructive politics that increased poverty and despair. Our people suffered, while those with vested interests profited from their misery. Reconciliation, democracy, and development have to transform Madagascar into the prosperous, peaceful country it so deserves to be. Without reconciliation, we will never forge democratic compromise. Without democracy, we will never have development, and without development, people lose faith in democracy. Madagascar has a history of lost potential, of people with high hopes, with dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, who have seen these dreams come to nothing. Madagascar deserves better. It deserves change, so does Africa. Let us, and I mean you, distinguished leaders in Africa, be the change we want and need in Africa. Let's start working for our people. Let's send a message of hope to the world. Again, thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Dinner will now be served, which will be accompanied by some tasteful